fans who can't join us because they are asleep. So I wanted to let you know that. We're recording it also for the center, and we're truly hoping that the next time that we see you, perhaps sometime in the fall or next year, we'll be able to invite you to a live comedy show. We are getting there. But tonight we are on the Zoom stage, and we are going to give you a wonderful afternoon, evening. So enjoy. You deserve a treat. You really do. Because can I get spotlight, Guillermo? Thank you. Because you deserve a treat. You really do. Because it has been a year, right? It has been. I still got a screen. Yeah, thank you. So it has been a year, right? A year of COVID, a year of Corona. And it has been a tough year, right? For so many people. And what I do want to say, though, that, if we had let the lesbians handle the pandemic from the beginning, this would have been resolved, right? Can you imagine? Right. Can you imagine the committees? First, there would have been the social distancing committee, right? And that would have been the dykes on bikes would have gone around and just managed all of that. I mean, are you going to say no to a dyke on a bike? Because I am not. I'm going to say, can I get on your bike, please, ma'am? Okay. So that would have been handled. And then there would have been like the mask committee, and these lesbians would have been making masks and employing people and forming unions like Norma Ray, all that. So that would have happened. And they would have been also eco, because they would have made them biodegradable. So that would have been like a bonus. So that's okay. And then now that it's vaccination time, we would get all the gym teachers on the fairgrounds be like, you, we're done. Right. So next time, world, let the lesbians handle it. You won't be sorry. You won't. Yeah. So it's been a year. We've all had a year. I have learned a lot this year. I have learned how to rename myself on Zoom. I'm particularly proud of that. I know what all 6 remotes in my house can do. Pretty great. And I learned what link in bio means on Instagram. It's just riveting stuff. I've also learned that my father, who's 82, is more sexually active than I am. Yes, he asked me to send him some Viagra in the mail during the pandemic. So that happened. I learned that alcohol is not a food group as much as some of us might like it to be. And I also learned, and this is most important, I learned that dermatology is not the same thing as porn. Right? It's not, in case you were wondering, because I tried to do my skin test over telemedicine, and then I realized, I'm paying him, he's not paying me. This is not porn, and I'm very expensive. So, just so you know that. My wife and I have been spending a lot of time together this year, and I'm grateful. I'm really grateful to have her. We've been together for 17 years, and that's now an additional 17 years in cat years, which is how lesbians measure time in the pandemic. And I'm very happy to have her, but people will say things like they'll post like pictures of their beloved, like cooking and baking and Netflixing and like cuddling and be like, there's nobody else I'd rather quarantine with than this wonderful person. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, if Julianne Moore were a little lonely, that would be okay. Or if like Lena Waithe, wanted to like, talk about her next Showtime series and maybe have like a white girlfriend character who was dealing with her microaggressions, I would be open to meeting up with her. So, our biggest struggle right now with me and my wife is that we don't get any time to ourselves, right? So when she goes grocery shopping, I'm like, garage is closed, music is on, calling a friend, getting my vibrator, Mina time. And then she's back in like an hour. Right. And I'm like, you're back already? It's like, don't we do eggs? Like, did you forget something? But, I'm grateful. It's just like, she's just there a lot, she's just around. And so I said to her at dinner, I said, do you want salad for dinner? And she's like, who, me? I'm like, who the hell else is here? It's just us. But, it is going to be challenging to be back to whatever post-vaccine is going to look like. Because I don't know about you, but I've kind of lost my sense of decorum a little bit. Like the list of neighbors who I will approach without my bra is getting longer every day. The level of undress with which I'll open the door for the postal carrier, again, it's changing every day. I think he's enjoying it, but again, the mail is not porn, so don't confuse those things. And and the biggest thing is that like the other day, I was wearing a sports bra, yay. And something was like pinching me, and I get in there and I'm like, it's a tortilla chip, like in my cleavage. And I ate it because birds don't eat tortilla chips, but Yeah. So it's gonna be a long road back for some of us, but we are on the road. We're getting there. A lot of people are getting their vaccines. That is wonderful. That is positive. I've been very fortunate. I got my first vaccine because I'm an educator. Although I am having quite a time getting my second dose. A lot of people are having this problem. They're scrambling around. I sort of tried everything. I talked to my neighbor. I went on next door. I flirted with my pharmacist. You do whatever you got to do. And my neighbor sent me a 1-800 number to try. So I tried this 1-800 number. I figured, why not? And I call it up and she's like, "Hey, sexy. I'm so glad you called. Would you like a bit? No, thank you so much. I'm good on sex. But can you get me a second dose?" And she couldn't. She was very nice. But I'll put the number in the chat because you might get lucky. And I wish you all the luck in the world with those vaccines. I'm Mina Hartong. I'm your host. That's my time. I'm so excited to be here. Are you ready for your show? I know you're ready for your show.
Yes.
Your show. We have 7 fantastic comics tonight. You're in for such a treat. In 5 short weeks, they wrote original sets. They learned skills of delivery and timing, and they are here to give you a beautiful show tonight. They got their backgrounds working. I did not. I hired a technician tonight. She's new. I'm giving her a try. She does her best, but they look great. And I can't wait for you to see them all. So sit back, relax, get ready, and here they come. Now coming to the stage is a gal finally giving stand-up a try after years of doing improv. She's had many unusual jobs in her life, including being a landscape designer, but she's going to keep that job for now. She's hoping to retire soon and infiltrate the stand-up stage. Please welcome Lynn Phillippe.
All right.
Hey there. Hi, everybody, and a gracious good afternoon. You all look so cute in your little boxes there. Anyway, now that I am 71, applause, please.
Hey.
I had to work for that one. I find it amusing to look back on all the jobs I've had in my life. Now, haven't you all had some weird, wacky jobs, especially when you've been younger? Well, in my early 20s, I was actively pursuing being a starlet. And my agent got me on this read, and I got cast in an Air Force training film. And immediately I'm like, I'm like, okay, I am like Top Gun. I've got the beret, and I'm thinking I have my handkerchief, and my necktie, and all this outfit. And I think, all the girls are going to think I am just so hot, like take my breath away, and I just am totally Top Gun. So the time gets closer to the shoot, and I go out and buy a pair of Ray-Bans just to, really get in the mood. And I drive all the way out to this Air Force base, and I get to the main gate there. And boy, they are like serious about security. I mean, who knew in these military bases? They give me a map and I find the place where I'm supposed to park. And I don't know if any of you have been on a military base before, but they're like a city. It's just huge. But I finally get to where I'm supposed to be, and I get parked. And I notice in my ashtray, there's a little roach in my ashtray. And I'm thinking, well, it was a long drive, and I could get in the mood a little bit. So I scrounge around and I find my lighter and I get my little roach out, and then I go, oh my God, I'm on a military base. Is this a good idea? So I do the scrunch. Do y'all remember the scrunch where you go like this? And you're taking a little hit, and like everybody knows what you're doing. But anyway, I have a little hit and I put it back in the ashtray and all that stuff. And then I realize I'm reeking of pot. So I roll down the windows and I open the doors and I jump out. And I'm flapping my shirt around and all this. And of course, the security guy drives by in his Jeep and he says, "Excuse me, miss, everything okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I just have a cramp. I just have a cramp here." Well, I finally get to the studio, and there's a middle-aged civilian man standing in the doorway with a clipboard. And I walk up and I'm like, oh, I'm still Top Gun. I'm like, can't wait for this uniform. And he checks me in and he looks me over and he says, Congratulations, young lady. You are red corpuscle number 1. What? Wait, what? That is not what I read for. I'm supposed to be like, all this top. And he points me across the way. And there's a young female cadet, a cute young female cadet, holding this huge red foam ball. I'm like, no, this can't be. Well, after I pull on my tights, and I pull on my little black turtleneck, and Steffi, that was her name, she was from Georgia, helped me into my ball. All right, so I've got this red ball about like this, and another lady cadet comes up and puts some makeup on me, and I'm like, what? And I realize I have got to pee like crazy, and I got this ball on. So I go, just a minute, I'll be right back. And I waddle down the hall, and I get to the ladies' room, and I throw the door open, and I squeeze into the stall. And then I'm telling you, it wasn't that easy. I had to like pull up my ball and pull down my tights. And anyway, I finally took care of my business. And then I had to flush, of course. So I'm trying to reach the handle, and I finally get it, about to throw my back out. And I go to open the door, and I cannot get out of this stall. I'm stuck in a stall in a ball, and I'm high. And I'm like, whoa. So I start yelling and screaming and kicking the hall, the stall doors and all this stuff. And finally, the door opens, and I hear Steffi. She says, hey, sugar, they're waiting for you on the sound stage. And I'm like, help me, I'm stuck in here. So she reaches in, and she tries to open the door, and she pushes and pulls and all this. And finally, she shoves me as hard as she can in the front of my ball. And I'm back against the thing, straddling the toilet. She grabs the front of my ball and pops me out of the stall. And we roll around on the floor of the bathroom. And not in a fun way either. And anyway, we make it back to the studio. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how I ended up starring in Your Amazing Metabolism as red corpuscle number 1. Thank you, I'm Lynn Phillippe.
Yeah, Mina, I gotta put your video on, Mina. Come on.
It's on. I'm here. I'm clapping.
Okay.
Oh, did I get the background? No, she didn't do it. Okay.
No.
All right. I know. I'm going to have to talk to her. She's doing her best. It's her first day. Okay. So thank you, Lynn Phillippe. And that I was a teacher for 20 years. So I have peed in some interesting places. So I loved that story. Our next topic has many interests, including being a medieval recreationist, board game collector, and is owned by 6 cats. Please welcome Lee Wygand.
Okay, all right. Hey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Now, I'm a medieval recreationist. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it really simply. We like to recreate the finer points of pre-17th century living, such as wearing funny clothes. So when you stop somewhere on the way to an event, people ask if you're in a play, putting on armor and hitting each other with sticks, or practicing the fine arts and sciences of the day, such as weaving and brewing beer.
Yeah.
Oh, with the comfort of flush toilets.
Love it.
So have you ever heard of glamping? Well, the organization I'm a member of invented that term. We go glamping with about 2,000 of our closest friends, setting up medieval tents, and which contain everything from beds with mattresses and solar panels for lighting and running our CPAP machines. Now, being a medieval recreationist does come in handy when you're owned by 6 cats. You know what they say, dogs have owners, cats have staff. And they remind me of that every time they hit me in the arm demanding for treats. And especially the arm I was vaccinated in. Now, cats usually are very clean and they wash themselves, but every once in a while you may need to bathe a cat. So you need armor for protection. Well, in my case, I've nailed it, or should I say, chain mailed it.
Woohoo.
There you go.
Now, I also do have a cat who's fur mats, and I, just can't just bathe them. They need a little bit more TLC. So I have to take them to the vet or the groomers, and then I'll come home with a shaved pussy. Now, if you've ever, had cats, you know that they're always getting in the way. And I'm also a teacher, and during this time of remote teaching, my students often see at least one of my cats during my time with them. And this can be comforting for them as, it's really, trying times. And sometimes my coworkers can be a little bit irritating. Last week, Stripes was on the back of my recliner washing herself. And I had just finished with a student session when suddenly she sticks out her leg and puts it right in front of my face. So I just had to take the photo of it as, it was a Kodak moment. And I posted it to Facebook with the caption of Stripes' rule for bathing. It's essential to be as obnoxious as you can while doing so. Extra points if you interrupt your human during work. Now, have you ever noticed that when you have cats, they have color select shedding? You'll find dark fur on light colored clothes and light fur on dark colored clothes. You just can't win. And then a friend of mine was so kind, she sent me a link to an article, Weird Cat Books That Really Exist, that has 20 books whose titles include I Could Pee on This. Sorry, I barfed on your bed. Games you could play with your pussy. Why Cats Paint. Crafting with Cat Hair. Knit Your Own Cat. 101 Uses for a Dead Cat. And How to Tell if your cat is trying to kill you. Now, I don't know if I should be embarrassed or not, but I do own most of those books. However, I have still not quite figured out if my cats are trying to kill me or not when they walk in front of me on my way to the bathroom in the middle of the night. People say cats are hunters. Well, mine seem to have missed out on that gene. I am not fond of spiders or bugs at all. And on the rare occasion when there's one in the house, I'll shout to the cat closest to it, get it, get it. And all they do is just stare at it. Like, totally useless. And speaking of useless, people just don't play board games anymore. Everyone has a phone or electronic, device or game system of some sort nowadays. Not me. I love the game Monopoly. In fact, you may say I have a monopoly on Monopoly, as I have over 100 sets, as evidenced by there's 46 of them right there. A little less than half my collection. Now I just need to find 100 friends to play with and my life will be complete. So I just want to thank all of you for coming. You've been great. Good night. I'm Lee Wigand. I'm off to play Monopoly with my cats. Yeah.
Lee Wigand, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Wigand. I'm coming over to play Monopoly because my wife is so sick of me. She won't play games with me anymore. All right, let's keep the show going. Thank you so much. Our next performer is a Midwesterner by birth, a world traveler by heart, and a retired engineer by profession. Please welcome Ms. Deanne Hopings.
Thank you. Thank you. Just so you know, I won't be doing stand-up tonight. I will be doing sit-down. I figure after 7 decades, I have earned that. Anyway, I'm not clairvoyant, but I do know what you are doing. You're leaned over to the person next to you and you're whispering, engineers can't be funny. And you'd be right. But here's the deal. I am an outlier. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not out here lying to you. Outlier is a term that statisticians use. Say you do an experiment and nearly all of your data points are right here, but then you have one data point way over there in no lady's land, all by itself. That is an outlier. Anyway, I've always been fascinated by words, what they mean, how they sound, where your mind drifts to when you hear them. For instance, take the word malfeasance. Doesn't sound good, does it? To me, I'm reminded of other words like malcontent, malicious, malevolent. Sounds like Cruella de Vil is in the house. So how about another one? Okay, decrepit. What comes to your mind when you hear this? For me, it's an image of an old house, one that looks like it would collapse if you looked at it sideways. But it also could apply to people. Someone once said, all your life, you're manufacturing an old person. And damned if they weren't right. Anyway, the other image that I see is also geezers and geezerettes. And yes, I claim being a geezerette. Proud to be a geezerette. Wasn't there a song, proud to be a geezerette from Muskogee, a place where even geezerettes can have a ball? No, I guess not. Continuing with words, names are also words. So I'll let you in on a little secret. Everyone here knows me as Deanne. But what you didn't know is that my passport says Donald. Who knew? Anyway, Donald is not a very common name. But before I go any further, don't even think about the former resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I want you to erase that ugly vision from your minds completely. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's the deal. My father is Donald. Okay. My stepbrother is Donald because his mother's first husband was Donald. My first wife has two brothers, one of whom is Donald. And in the immortal words of Ron Popeil, but wait, there's more. My former brother-in-law's best friend since high school is also Donald. And finally, the first husband of my second wife is also a Donald. That's a total of 6. And no, I didn't make this up. The worst case scenario, though, was 4 of us in the room at the same time. Talk about the whiplash. Don? And yes, I guess that does truly make me an outlier. So thanks for dropping in tonight. I am Deanne Hopings, and I'm here all week in my kitchen. Bye now.
Deanne Hopings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Deanne. 6 Donalds. I can barely handle one. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I want to make sure we thank Guillermo, who's doing all kinds of great tech for us right now. So give it up for Guillermo, letting people into the waiting room, spotlighting us.
All right.
Letting that chat roll on. We are, we did get some feedback about muted and volume, and I forgot to let you all know that we do have the comics unmuted so we can support each other as we, as we do this for the first time. A lot of us are beginners, just to give a little laughter in the room. And we can't wait to hear from you after the show when we can hear all of your laughter and comments and questions and just compliments. But thank you for replying in the chat. Please do feel free to use your silent reactions. Another thing I learned this year on Zoom, so much learning on Zoom this year. Thank you, Zoom. Feel free to silently react to how wonderful we are if you feel like that's something you would like to do. Clearly, I didn't learn my virtual background this year, but there's always next year, because I probably won't be able to travel to 2022 anyway. So yippee. Okay, excellent. So moving on with the show, very excited. We have, since this is a virtual class, we have comics from the East Coast as well as the West Coast. So this next comic is from New York, but she lives in Connecticut. She loves paddle tennis. And I will translate that later because I'm also from Connecticut, and is convinced that her true love is in the audience tonight, and she will meet you online in 20 minutes. Please welcome Noreen Brody.
Okay. All right.
Go, Noreen.
Thank you. It's great to be here. So I like the idea of online dating. It lets you meet people from different states, different countries, people who would steal your identity, and allows you to put yourself out there without actually putting yourself out there. And for an introvert, that is very appealing. There's even the screening process whereby the site will match you based on common interests, shared beliefs, level of kinkiness, things you look for in a partner. Furthermore, there's no more awkward weirdness at bars. So normally I would wait for someone to reach out to me, but hey, it's the 2020s, so I've reached out first. So what does one say to spark interest? It's so annoying when a woman puts in her profile that she won't respond to a message that reads, "Hey, how are you?" I mean, when did it become a bad thing to ask someone how they were doing? At this point, I've read through their profile. I'm mustering up the courage to reach out when, bam, don't ask me how I'm doing. I mean, come on, what do you want? But I forge on, being the self-tortured perfectionist that I am. I scour the profile for common interests, and I attempt to create a greeting that is both awe-inspiring and thoughtful, a turn of words that would rival a Shakespearean sonnet. Oh, fair lady, whose profile sparks desire, the books you've read set my heart on fire. After several rewrites and much editing, I press send and I never want to look at it again. Furthermore, I know that I'm incapable of such eloquence in the real world. So if I were ever to meet this person, the best I'd be able to come up with would be, "Hey, how are you?" The second challenge, if I make it through the greeting stage, is what I call the disappearing act. It usually happens right at the point where I think I actually like this person and I might want to meet them. It goes something like this. "Hey, how are you?" Yeah, I know, I used it. I really enjoyed reading your profile. You seem smart and nice. I too like the Golden Girls, the brothers Karamazov and Whitney Houston. Really? That's so cool that we have those things in common. I too grew up on Long Island. Really, where? Where? And she's gone. Or we're chatting, things are going great, let's text, and she's gone. Or we're texting, things are going even better, let's talk on the phone, and she's gone. Or I think we're soulmates, I think so too, and she's gone. So ultimately, the purpose of online dating is to meet someone, fall in love, and live happily ever after. This, however, is complicated by a pandemic. While I secretly rejoice that I'll never have to actually meet the person, what would be the point? Eternal pen pals? So normally the progression is chat, text, phone, meet. Now it's chat for 2 weeks, text for 2 weeks, Zoom for 3 weeks, and then meet in separate cars in an empty parking lot for 3 weeks, and then decide if she's worth contracting a debilitating and terrifying disease. It is not a fun choice. So the question remains, will I continue to online date? The truth is that I still want to meet someone no matter how difficult it is. So I will continue to put myself out there. I'll pray for an end to the pandemic and I'll polish up my iambic pentameter. Thank you.
Woohoo, Noreen Brody.
Hey,
Yeah.
Impressing us with her iambic pentameter. That alone is a reason to date Noreen. So
Yeah.
awesome. Don't give up, Noreen. Don't give up. Shakespeare forever. Shakespeare in love. Thank you, Noreen. Are you all enjoying the show so far? You can send me hearts or emojis. I see the chat. I see the chat is going really well. We love your support. We love that you're here with us. We know we all need comedy and joy right now, and we are here to give it to you. Our next performer is a former bartender and spent many years as a cog in the wheel of the Hollywood machine. Amongst her other skills, she sings to cats. Please welcome Robin Katz.
Woohoo!
okay.
Yeah.
Hi. So I guess I don't need this anymore. Well, welcome, cohorts, friends of the COVID Cafe. Yes, I lived in the village. And what you probably don't know about me is that the lesbians at the Duchess used to call me Resume. And that's because I appeared on just about all of their resumes. I had a job. It was the 8 a.m. shift at this downstairs Wall Street bar. It was called Chi Chi's, which is actually, that was the name of the owner, who was a piece of work, but I really like the name. Anyway, so we all had to wear costumes, and I wore this sort of red spangly one-piece bathing suit, and I pulled it over some fishnet stockings, and I had those signature clog heels, which everybody loved because they could hear me like half a block down. And it was a look, I mean, at the time. So my job was to use my feminine charms to cajole these businessmen who would come by at 8 a.m. to buy really ridiculously expensive bottles of champagne and Chivas Regal. And, they were on their way up to the 44th floor of the World Trade Center. Poor guys. Anyway, it like wasn't a good fit. So fortunately, I managed to land a job at Bonnie and Clyde's. I don't know if you know of it. It's kind of, there it is. It's sort of like this infamous club, and it's a lesbian bar. And, everybody wondered, why didn't they call it Bonnie and Bonnie's? But I don't know. I still don't know. Anyway, it was a little rough trade. I nearly got thrown down the stairs by the bouncer who had like these anger issues just because I ate like 25 cocktail onions. I mean, I didn't think it was such a big deal, but anyway. So the great thing about my career at Bonnie and Clyde is that I met my first very for real girlfriend. Her name was Paulette, and she was an Italian Brooklyn beauty, really. And she made porcelain teeth for a living. And she kind of reminded me of Lauren Nero, who I loved. Ooh la la la, ooh la la la. Yeah. Anyway, after we became an item, my best friend Mark and I moved into the very same roach-infested walk-up that was actually right around the corner from Bonnie and Clyde's, very conveniently. And the cool thing is that it had a unisex beauty parlor where I could get a last-minute David Cassidy cut. And it also had a shower in the kitchen, which was great if you're an exhibitionist. And Mark and I both were exhibitionists, so that was cool. And we had a great time there. Mark was, man, he was gorgeous. You may even know him. He was part Norwegian, part Puerto Rican. He was a dancer at the Alvin Ailey Academy. And he was just a delight on and off the dance floor. There were a couple of bugs. He had scabies, which he could not get rid of. And it just kind of went on and on and on. And I wouldn't have minded, but after a while, it was like having 1,000 roommates. Crazy, And, I can also thank him personally for introducing me to syphilis. But the worst thing was, he was jealous, and I wouldn't have thought that would happen, but he used to complain he could hear Paulette and I having sex, which, is crazy because, she lived on the 6th floor and we only lived on the 2nd. So if he could hear us, then the whole building could hear us. Okay. So we had this, Paulette and I, she had this kitten. Her name was Shadow, very flirty, even for a cat. And I don't want to get too in the weeds about this, but she loved Q-tips. I mean, she loved them. And, well, I just remember the three of us sitting at Paulette's kitchen table. And, we looked out the window, and there was the Empire State Building, and it lit up. It was magic. So thank you so much. You've been very indulgent. Great audience. And I'll see you again. My name is Robin Katz.
Woo, Robin Katz, ladies and gentlemen. I've got my New York, I've got a little New York pizza on my head here because she's making me homesick. Thank you for taking us to New York. We miss it and we will be back. Robin Katz, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited for our next performer. He describes himself as a corporate America divorcee, semi-retired computer geek, And he's been spending a lot of COVID time with his new lover and BFF. Please welcome David Sklarue.
Hey, all right.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. 2 years ago, I swiped left on a 23-year-old marriage with corporate America because it wasn't a match anymore. You might be wondering why. After all, corporate America has a lot of perks. I had flexible work hours and location, free food, a case of hemorrhoids from sitting on my tuchus too much. Yes, that's right. I spent a lot of time in front of the computer doing Zoom before it was cool, just raking in the dough with a good paycheck, just so I could afford all the doctor bills for the debilitating illnesses I suffered from poor computer posture. Ugh. But corporate America wasn't all that bad. There were a few highlights, such as the annual town hall meeting that was so interesting I would meditate. Then HR would get on and would have something to say like this. At the company, we value diversity. It is important to bring your whole self to work and have fun. Be yourself. Yeah, as long as you color within the lines using the corporate color scheme, wear chinos, and don't do coke. I mean Coca-Cola, of course. I worked from PepsiCo, owner of Pepsi, and they fired Dan from drinking Coke at his desk. Invariably, you know PepsiCo. PepsiCo's the purveyor of salty snacks, Doritos, Cheetos, Fritos, distributor of Fizzly sodas, and beloved of Weight Watchers. You must be wondering what I did in corporate America for 23 years and why so long. I'll address the first part. I was a technology artist, leader, and legendary computer whisperer. Aha. I see. Here's a case of RAM envy. And you know what? I had some good skills. I could communicate with different groups of people from different backgrounds. I was very good at corporate talk, where I would speak to the IT VPs every now and then. It would go something like this. As part of our sales transformation project, we will move to the cloud, where we will take monolithic applications, decompose them by subsystem, create microservices, and we will decrease marginal costs. What does that mean? And who cares? Anyhow, I left that all behind and retired at the ripe old age of 46. I had big dreams. I dreamed of meeting the nice people of Denmark and visiting Vietnam, finally doing something that would make a difference in the world, and finally having time to polish my calluses with a pumice stone. And then Corona came and I found myself with a new lover and BFF. Invariably, as in all new relationships, there was lots of good, passionate time. I found myself in so many, waking up in so many contorted positions, in the bathroom, in the bedroom, in the neighbor's doghouse, after falling asleep after boredom. You must think this reflects badly on my lover. My lover must have been terrible, or that I love dogs or dog houses. But I have to admit, it's just Corona time, and I've been dreaming of normalcy and a real date. Corona is impacting everyone, and I imagine it's even impacting superheroes. I can imagine Superman with jet lag. Aquaman being to borrow swimmies to do his stuff. And the tooth fairy has a case of gingivitis. Anyway, before Corona time, I used to like going out with friends for meals. Sometimes I would eat by myself. And eating by myself was great. I always had good food, good company, and lots of scintillating and interesting conversation. And then I regained my mental health and realized I was all alone. You must be thinking mental health issues are serious, and I agree. But if Corona goes on for all that much longer, it's good to know that lots of company might be just a few missed pills away. Anyway, my time is over. Thank you, everyone. I'm David Sklarue, and remember, don't do coke.
David Sklarue, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Yes, only drink Pepsi. And listen, Corona is a very committed lover. She has been hanging around. So I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you both. So thank you so much. Our last performer tonight is a thumb wrestling champion from the East Coast. And she's a stepmother to a very bossy feline and home office manager, Suki from HR. Please welcome to the Zoom stage, Alisa Zabrina.
Okay.
Yay!
I was a weird kid. Did you ever have imaginary friends? I had an imaginary community. I used to force my mother to leave the car door open every morning when she dropped me off from school until I decided that all my friends were out of the car. You know, Mom, Christina's still tying her shoelaces. Jose, stop pushing me. Nancy, you look fine. Is that my shirt? I was never alone in my mind. Once I screamed bloody murder when one of my mother's dinner guests sat down and crushed one of my invisible best friends. Poor guy was not prepared. He had to move around the room 5 times before he finally found an unoccupied spot. I had a lot of close calls in childhood. Once my mother had to rush me to the emergency room after a brick landed on my head as I climbed the side of the house, saving orphans from a burning village with Wonder Woman. I had real friends too, though, don't worry. My best friend Eugenio and I used to play Star Wars. Eugenio somehow always managed to find a trunk for a stick. And I was always left barefoot with a crooked, shriveled up twig. I realized I needed to take it to the next level. I needed to dig deeper, to channel my inner Princess Leia. I needed to find a bigger stick if I was ever going to save the galaxy from the dark side. It seemed impossible. I almost gave up. And then I noticed this perfectly straight, shiny silver stick hanging from the side of the house. I ran to it, I grabbed and I pulled and I tugged to no avail. So I called time out, went into the kitchen, grabbed a butter knife, and for safety, I put on my flower flip-flops. I went out and I started sawing away at the shiny, pretty metallic stick on the side of the house, and bam! There was this kind of explosion. The house seemed to shake back and forth a little bit. Turns out my lightsaber was an electrical cord. My mother mailed me the burned knife a few years ago for my birthday. Elisa, do you remember that day? You killed electricity in my whole house with your supergirl powers. My mother loves to remind me how traumatizing my childhood was for her. And I like to remind her that it was Princess Leia, not Supergirl. I survived childhood, and I'm now a more grounded, semi-logical adult. My partner recently informed me that what happened with the butter knife is technically what is known as an arc flash. And it's pure luck that I survived unharmed. But I know that it was really my flip-flops, Princess Leia, Christine, Jose, and Nancy that saved my life that day. Thank you, everyone. That's all from me tonight. You've been an awesome, real audience. I'm Elisa Zebrina. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Lisa Zebrina, ladies and gentlemen. May the force be with her. Yes,
Lisa, go
yes,
ahead,
that is our show.
girl.
And please don't leave yet because we're going to hang out afterwards and have some nice conversation. But you are welcome to unmute yourselves. So please do that. We'd love to hear you and give it up for all your comics tonight. Lynn Phillippe, Lee Wigan, let me hear you. Deanne Hogan,
Oh, well, you.
Sklarue, and Elisa Sabrina. Give it up for them. Yeah, great job, comics. You can take a look at the chat. There's loads of wonderful compliments in there for you. We have a lot of folks in the Zoom room. I hear wonderful things. People are saying they're loving this, and we love providing it for you. So feel free to unmute yourself. If you have a question or a comment for us, please feel free to put it in the chat. And Guillermo will help me pay a little bit more attention to what's going on with the chat. I am a little old, so I'm doing my best here with the multitasking. I wanted to let you know that this is has been a 6-week experience. This has been a 6-week experience that we started about 5 weeks ago, and none of it, some of us knew each other from personal life, but most of us hadn't. And like I mentioned before, we have East Coast and West Coast. And we thought, let's just try to do a virtual class and see what happens. And this is our beautiful result. All of these comics are trying this for the first time with little to no experience. So give it up for them. That's amazing. It's a very brave and hard thing to do. And they started, yes, we can take a moment for that for sure. Yes. I will give you some of my fancy Zoom skills there. But bravo to them. And we started out with stories and sort of generating from personal experience. And then we came up with their scripts, and then we focused on editing and delivery. And all of this happened very quickly, and they did a beautiful job.
Yes.
So, yeah, they really did. So comics, I want to ask you, since this was a new experience, and one of the things we talked about was like, we agreed that we were going to take a big risk, you know, and that we're going to get some joy and get some humor in our lives, especially with COVID and a lot of us being stuck at home. So now that you've been through the experience, what surprised you about it, if anything? The class itself, or something within yourself that you didn't know? And maybe we can spotlight you if you want to share something about that, about what surprised you, if anything.
Yeah. You know, there's a great difference between being spontaneously funny and preparing to be funny. You know, many of us, you know, in the course of a conversation, say extremely funny things, but there's no pressure to that. There's no sense that, you know, that's one thing. Now, what's the next thing and the thing after that? So it's a very different proposition.
Well, you know, Deanne, one of my most important comic mentors, and I've been lucky, I've been doing comedy a long time, and I love it. Keith Johnstone, who Lynn might know him, is a very famous improviser out of Canada. And I was lucky enough to take a workshop with him before he passed. And he said, don't try to be funny. That was his best comic advice, because the audience doesn't want to see you push. They want to see you being genuine. And all of you were so authentic and genuine tonight. Anything else that surprised you about the experience or surprised you within yourself? And then we'll open it up to the audience.
I enjoyed it because I didn't have to wait for my other 3 comedians that I work with to let me get a word in edgeways. But you know, this was always a bucket list thing for me. And fortunately, I did it before it was too late. And Mina, I want to thank you. I think all of my fellow classmates, let's give her a big hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Lynn. I've had such a great experience with you all. And Lynn is also a member of the Improvables, and she'll be performing next Saturday as part of the Virtually Read event that we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, really different, huh? Solo comedy from improv. I have some improv background. How is it different besides being able to be the only speaker?
Well, it's all on me. I couldn't wait for somebody else to give me a gift or something. So it's a different approach to actually writing something. I still don't do it verbatim like some of my classmates did, but I really enjoyed it. I think I want to pursue it a little bit more.
Awesome. Well, I was putting in the chat how to reach out to me. My Instagram handle is on my fancy renaming of my Zoom. I put in my email and Facebook. I definitely love email. I'm old fashioned and a little bit old, so, but I will answer to social media calls as well. Let us know if you're interested in continuing this process, and do reach out to me and let me know, and we'll try to keep getting classes going. If there's an interest in that, I know that I would love to do that. Anything else to add, comics, before we open it up to your adoring audience?
I had a lot of fun. I'm a theater girl, so for me it was great to kind of enter this unknown way of performing on Zoom. And I've never tried stand-up. I think I'm more of a storyteller, but I had fun giving it a shot. So thank you.
Great. You all did beautifully. Thanks, Elisa. And you know, the intersection between storytelling and things like The Moth, if you follow that, or StoryCorps, definitely intersect very readily with comedy, because that's what we're doing in both cases. And it often intersects like that. And it did tonight with a couple of people's sets as well. Yeah. Wonderful. All right.
Mina, this is
Yes.
Candace, and I kind of perused the chat for you because there's
Thank
a lot.
you. Thank
And
you.
there really weren't questions. I didn't find any questions. It's mostly just congratulating you all, saying they loved it, wanting to find out about the workshop,
Wonderful.
and giving everybody praises, and that. So if there are any questions, that would be easy to do just with opening up on their mics.
Okay, you got it. So thank you for doing that, Candace, because it is a long scroll and I really appreciate that. This is Candace from the Director of Programs at the Center out here in Palm Springs. So are there any questions from the audience, or any comments or reflections? And you can let us know.
Well, actually, I just wanted to at least thank
Lee.
Stars, Stripes, Doc, Dobby, Smokey, and Tribble for all the inspiration.
Say that again fast. Yeah.
Those are those 6 cats that own you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to teach them to clap, though.
True. And
They were in the other room.
And they were a big part of rehearsal too. I kind of missed them tonight.
There's a question from Mike McGinty.
Awesome, Mike. I don't know if I can see you, but I can hear you.
Question is, how do you decide?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Great to see you. It was a really fun show.
Good.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
He had a question about.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do you guys, how did you decide what you wanted to present tonight? How did you decide what to talk about? Like, Lynn, what made you decide to tell that story? And all the others told, a lot of storytelling going on, which was awesome. I'm just wondering how you decided to do it.
If I can, Mina sort of directed us to thinking about events in our lives, relationships, fears. So she had us kind of write down some ideas, and that's what prompted me to, I sort of started to think about weird jobs. I have about 3 more.
I know.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Anybody else want to respond? Or anyone? Robin? David?
I do.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Katie Kate. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Yes.
Katie.
Yeah, I am
Hey.
just amazed at how quickly you all came together, and Mina, that speaks volumes for you. You certainly pulled it together in such a short period of time. I just applaud all of you. It's amazing. I'm so happy I saw it. And I'm part of the Lynn Phillippe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for being with us. We're just so happy to be able to be with the community in this way. And I think there's a real need for, like you said, for coming together and, and having joy and laughter. And I think also it's, because of COVID, I think we were able to bond very quickly, also because, a show is a show, right? We only, the show day comes and we have to be ready. But thank you for all of that. Very appreciative.
Thank you.
I'm also DN fan club too. DN.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are not alone in that fan club. You are not the only member. I wanted to go back to Mike's question, which is a really good one. We generated lists of, hates and loves and irritants and fears and things that Lynn alluded to. And one of the challenges in writing stand-up comedy that I think these comics even in the beginning of their process and being so new to it, you encounter is that you find out that you have a lot of stories, like Mike mentioned, like how did you pick which story you're going to do? And so one of the challenges is if you are performing and getting a set ready, you kind of have to say, okay, I'm going to stick with this topic. And then other topics will come in because that's how our brains work. And then those are for another time. So sometimes it's difficult to edit and it's difficult to stick with something, but they all did that and were able to bring it to the performance level. But there was a lot of material to choose from for sure.
Yeah, we have a question from Lulu. Lulu.
Yes, wonderful.
My mom. That might be my mom. Lulu.
Hey, hello.
Yes.
Congratulations to all, especially Alisa Sabrina. I survived that explosion. I have a very vivid recollection of that.
Oh, she was there.
Yes, I was.
Right.
It was beautiful. I enjoyed everybody's presentations. It was lovely, especially in this incredible pandemic. When it's going to be over, do you know?
Ask David, because David, David knows Corona really well. So David will get back to us on that.
Keep us informed, please.
Yes. Well, and Lulu, you made an appearance tonight in the set, so you were part of it.
Yeah, well, congratulations, all, especially to my daughter. Love you, Alisa.
Thank you, Mom.
I see
Mina
that
Shankar has
I
a
see that
comment.
Shan has a comment. Yes.
Hey there. Well, I just want to give a huge congratulations. Wow, you guys really did an amazing job. You went from 0 to funny in 6 weeks, and that's really saying something. I thought you guys were focused, your timing was good, and I'm hoping that at least 1 or 2 of you has been fatally infected with the comedy bug. It is fatal. Once it really gets into your system, you can't live without it. I guess maybe it's more of a drug than a bug, but you guys did a great job, Mina, and I'm so proud of the center for doing it. You guys rocked it.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you could be here. Shankar, for those of you who don't know, is a legend in her own time. She is the host of everything. She has a fabulous podcast called I Love Gay Palm Springs, which I listen to religiously every week. And she's a local comedian who welcomed me immediately when I arrived in Palm Springs and has been so good and generous to me and to everyone on the comedy scene. So that's a huge compliment, Shan. Thank you.
Well, I love your drive. I'm so glad you just pushed. You came at the hardest time and you have made it happen. So I know your students are grateful and so are we. Thank you so much.
For your help. Thank you.
Shan, I have enough ailments as it is. I don't need another one.
You need to just sit down, all right?
Mina, we have Michelle Wise with a question.
Yeah, I wanted to say you guys did an amazing job. Bravo to all of you. I think,
Thank you.
There's so many different styles of comedy, and like someone had said, it's one thing to be funny in person, but to actually be on stage and still be funny is not easy. And you guys did a wonderful job. And and it's interesting. I was watching like the technique that you taught that I see that was in this process, because one, there had to be honesty. It had to be real stories. And I think that's actually where it's the truth of the truth of the story. That's where the humor comes from. And to listen to each one of you individually and to see your journey and to know that you guys did this in 6 weeks, whatever your background is. I just applaud all of you for doing this, and bravo to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's my improbable sis there.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
One of my improbables.
Next Saturday at 7. I can't wait to see that show.
Yeah, I'm the one that always interrupts her. Yeah.
Now you got to hear the full story, Michelle. Thank you for all of that, because everything that you said is so important to note, especially the lack of experience and trying something completely new that's performance-based, which is an incredible risk to take. This is actually session 6. So the session 6 is the show. So it happened very quickly. And I also have been amazed. I had no idea what would happen. I know I wanted to offer this virtually and connect with these people who wanted to try this, but they have just run with it and beautifully. Yeah. And
So,
authenticity
Mina,
is something we talked about quite a bit. Yeah.
we have Break-a-Leg Lee with a comment.
Sounds good.
Hi.
Hey, Lee. We just want to say that we are so proud of you and those 6 cats. We know that they love you so much, especially Tribble. Okay. And come on over, bring the Monopoly boards, and Carl has a new card game, Dominion, to play with us too.
Ooh.
As soon as this is all over. Okay.
I'm so jealous.
Almost.
Thank you. I miss game night too. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I want to come over. Great.
We love you, Lee.
Thanks, Michelle. I was wondering who that was.
It's hard
It's
to
me.
see. We have a big crowd tonight. Do you see who it is, Lee? Excellent.
Yeah, I did.
Awesome. Deserved. So Gamma or Candace, I think we have time for one more question or comment live. If anybody has anything that they want to share or ask.
That's your time.
All right.
I love you, Lisa.
Well, that's what they say, mommy. That's my time.
We
So,
do want to get a
before-
plug in for the Improbables next
know it,
weekend.
so,
Okay,
yes,
so I'll
so-
let you do that, Mina.
You got it. So before we let you go, and again, we thank you so much for being here. This is a year of Zooming, and we're always so flattered and complimented when people will continue to show up on Zoom. We love performing for you. We love being with you. So thank you for that. So big news from the center. First of all, big thank you to the center. Again, the center, centercv.org, is our local LGBT center here in the Coachella Valley. And, again, I'm a newbie to Palm Springs. I am sort of a pandemic nomad, and they have embraced me and my wife beautifully. We feel so at home here. So support them. Check out their website. Get on their newsletter. Even if you're not in Palm Springs, get on Chance. I Love Gay Palm Springs podcast, and just be part of it and be connected to us. Next weekend is a big weekend for the center. Normally we would have a big dance party, a big gala called Red Dress, Dress Red. It's epic. The moment I arrived in Palm Springs, I heard about it. It is virtual this year. It's still happening, and it's happening big time next weekend. So a couple of things that you can do. The food bank, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Candace, I think serves 220 families to date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, each week. Yes.
Each week. All right. So 220 families per week come to the food bank that's connected with the center. It is their 10th anniversary this year. And so it's aligned with the Red Dress event. So you can, I did it this morning, you can donate to the food bank on the center. It's super easy on the website. You can wear red next weekend and post a picture on social media and say, I love the center. Right. You can also join a virtual dance party on Sunday. I will definitely be there for that. And then Lynn, our very own Lynn Phillippe, is going to be performing with the Improbables next Saturday at 7. That's a free show, also on Zoom. So it's a big weekend coming up for the center. I think there's a link in the chat because I didn't type it in, but here comes Guillermo with that.
Yes, it is.
And the center is a place that when I was living in New York City, I would follow anyway. I would be part of the women's chat on Thursdays just to feel connected to the community here. It's a very special community here, and we want you to feel welcome here wherever in the country that you are. So please get connected with the center and please support them next weekend. And because it is the Red Party, I've been saving this filter. My technician is finally getting her work done here. Let me see if I can do it. Yes, there it is. Students who got their background working, so they all get A. Let us know if you want more class. I have been a very, very proud mama this week. These kids are amazing, right? They're amazing. And thank you so much for being with us. We thank you for being here. Please stay safe and be like the lesbians and stay home. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome
Oh, my
job,
goodness.
y'all.
Yeah. Survived it.
It was great.
Survived it.
You
Yes.
all were amazing. And you didn't even seem nervous at all.
No, not at all. And especially with the music, that's always hard when the tech, does what it does. And you all were super
You
calm.
did that on purpose, just to test us.
I worked all week on the set list.
I know, bummer.
And you all were so understanding.
It
So
looked great.
thank
The
you for
brick,
rolling.
the background looked great. And look at, we all have our berets on now. The three.
I know. Get on the
Wow.
game, Deanne. Change your hat.
It was, yeah, really. It was amazing. And the comments, while you're still on, folks, if you can open up your chat,
Mhm.
make sure that that's opened up and just start looking at some of these amazing comments, because they're just all, thank you for the show. Thank you, Mina. Thanks from these people. Thank you for letting us
Yeah.
know about this. You make it look so easy. Break a leg. This is great. Such a fun Saturday. I mean,
Right. People are saying,
Yeah.
love
drink it all
this, you
in.
know? Look at all the joy that you gave people.
Yeah.
And we really need
Yeah.
that right now. We need a Saturday night plan. We need something to look forward to dress up for, whatever, you know? So
Yeah.
you
That's
gave them
great.
such a wonderful night.
Mhm.
Incredible
Yeah.
job.
Missed out on dinner.
Well, and I
God,
would
the,
say on
the cat's
behalf,
head's so big.
yeah, on behalf,
The camera.
on behalf of the center, thank you for taking the risk
Yes.
for this program, and
Yeah.
Mina for diving into this experience.
The
This
courage.
is new territory for us. Candice and I have been working very, very hard to be creative since COVID, and
Yeah.
her vision and our team dedication to make this space available for you, so you can come and have the experience that you have. So I want to thank you on behalf of the center for taking a chance with us and
Yep.
supporting us.
And
You
we
guys are
thank
doing a
you.
great job.
And thank you for
Thank
your
you.
incredible support, Guillermo and Candace. You know, we have a lot of conversations between classes, and there's no detail left, you know, uncovered. And thank you for making us look so beautiful in our background and the beautiful graphics. And then, you know, and all of you for promoting so beautifully to bring so many people into the room tonight. It was really, really wonderful.
So
Yeah,
let's wear our red hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody get a red hat. Oh, good. They could try to
Nice.
do a screenshot with the red hats. That would
Yeah,
be funny.
I'm going to.
It's one of your video filters. All the kids are doing.
Yeah. Does everyone have that where you go to the camera, you hit the
Yeah,
little arrow, and it'll say choose video filter?
Does anybody, yeah.
And then you might see the hat when you choose the filter there.
Instead of virtual background. Oh, here we go. Here comes some.
Yeah.
And
Guillermo's going to try to, if we all get the
Yeah.
hats on,
Still
do a
refresh.
screenshot.
Wait, where am I looking for this?
Give me 1 second.
What's that on
It
the
says where the camera is, where it says stop video.
Okay, choose
But
video
hit
filter.
You
the
got it.
arrow,
You got it.
and then it go up to choose video filter.
David's got his on. Look at
And
that.
then you click on the video filter and then scroll down all those funny little things on the right hand side.
David, with your green jacket, you look like a comrade.
And then
Awesome.
you'll see
Yeah.
the little red beret hat. Do you see that?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Very fun.
I don't know if Elisa's got the update. Is there an update?
Hey.
I guess I don't have the update. I don't see it.
Oh, oh.
Mhm.
Elisa, do you have another device going? Because you're echoing.
Yeah, you echoed through the whole thing, and I thought that
did?
too. Mm-hmm.
It was,
Mhm.
It was a quick echo, so it wasn't bad.
yeah, it was totally fine audio wise.
Yeah. But it did sound like a little bit of
Yeah,
an
and,
echo.
and it did not affect the
No.
set at all.
No.
It was awesome.
Right.
Okay, Guillermo, are you going to try to do a screenshot?
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, jazz hands.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm trying to multitask.
No, I got to change my view, I guess, too.
Tell us when.
Sorry.
Okay, so Ray, hold on a second.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Dorothy's in the
Yeah,
middle of
there
that.
we
People
go.
haven't left.
Okay, everybody ready? Do your.
Woo!
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Good job.
My cat.
Awesome.
I know one of the cats is in there.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so is Dorothy Brody, whoever Dorothy Brody is. She's in there too. Hi, Dorothy. You-
Oh, it's my mom. It's my mom.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Noreen Brody, right.
Hi, Mom.
hanging out with us in the Zoom room. This is our version of backstage, you know, when we used to be.
Yeah,
Hello to our
exactly.
audience.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Already.
Well, I'm gonna just want to say thank you, everybody. I hope you all had as much fun as we did. I kept zooming back and forth, looking at people's faces, reading all the comments, and listen, everyone was just had an enjoyable couple hours tonight. So that's what counts.
Great.
I hope you had as much enjoyment in doing it as we had in watching it, but you all did a great job. Spread the word. I think you have all kinds of people interested, Mina, in the next session. So we just got to figure out the date and we'll get on that.
Sounds wonderful.
Yep. And thank you everyone so much.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Candace.
Been virtually red next weekend.
There we go.
I'll hang
Bye.
out if anybody has anything lingering to say or how wonderful you are, but I'll hang out a little bit if people want to.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave you the space for more privacy, so I'm going to make you the host. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a
Thanks,
good
Guillermo.
day.
Thank you. All of your support, always. Thank you, Guillermo.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Right, y'all. Yeah.
So are we stuck with these red berets forever? On our head?
You go back to the
Did they put them on you? Because you can go to your filter and just choose none.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
I like that.
More
Okay.
into a true.
I didn't see any.
There, now it's gone.
Yeah.
But you can wear it next week, Lynn, when you do your show. So Lynn's show is next Saturday at 7, right? 7 Pacific. Yes. So a little later on the East Coast. Yeah. With
Yeah,
the
calm
Improbables.
down, folks.
How many are in your group, Lynn?
Just 4 of us.
4.
Michelle and I and Deb and David. David was on there too, but he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
There's
Well, you
just
did a
4.
fantastic job, all of you, getting an audience in. You know, we had so many people, and I know it's hard on Zoom because you can't see people, so you don't always know who's there. But
I
it was,
appreciated hearing the laughter and the, because it's, boy, we've done a couple of shows and like I told you guys, there's nothing. So this is, at least we got to laugh for each other. So
yeah, and you'll see if you look at the chat, because when you were all performing, I was looking at the chat as well, just in case. It's so much to look at, right? And some people were saying, "Can you mute those people?" because they thought they were audience members. So then
that was funny. They were telling us to stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
So I said, okay, I'll be transparent and let people know that that's a device that we're using. But did it help you to have the laughter, I hope, and the reactions?
Yeah.
Good.
It's probably good to let people know, like you said, because they think somebody's not muted. Oh my God,
Exactly. So it's going off. So that's a good thing for me to learn for sure. And I also think it's just a lot, even if you're not the technical person, there's waiting room, there's chat, there's a lot going on. There's a lot coming at you when you're on stage. It's just you and the light. So
yeah.
Right.
I found the chat very distracting when I was performing. I was trying not to look at anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't keep my chat on. I really wish I could attend next weekend, but another group that I'm a member of, we're having a big event next Saturday too.
You're glamping, probably.
Oh,
all right.
I'm a Kiwanian, and I belong to the LGBT plus Kiwanis group, it's of Southern California. So we support LGBT.
There is such a thing.
Yes. Yeah, we are the first and only Kiwanian group with a focus, because Kiwanis has a focus on children, and we're the first one with a focus on LGBTQ plus children. And Southern California, and we're having an event next Saturday. We're having a drag queen named drag pool. He dresses like Deadpool, and we're going to have bingo. So
you don't even have to be a guy to do that. No.
So yeah,
cool.
we're having that. So I unfortunately can't attend the center's event, but I did support them today, as you said, Mina. It's very easy to donate.
It really is.
My stimulus check came in, and I donated $300.
Hey,
awesome.
Lee, that's so awesome.
That's great.
That's very nice. Thank you.
And congrats on the check. That's very generous. Yeah, they do have a very slick website. It's very tech savvy and easy to navigate. Yeah.
And you can say where you want the money to go to.
Yeah. That's right. You can actually pick a category. And I'm local in Palm Springs. So for us coming out here, not knowing anyone and being transplanted because of the pandemic, it's a mainstay. We met so many friends, and it's given us immediate community. So it's a very wonderful place to support.
Yeah. Lee, I've been meaning to tell you that, I don't know if you know, the Chamber of Commerce here in Palm Springs did their own version of Monopoly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's up here in the closet in the house here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's it functions like a standard Monopoly game, but
sure.
all the references are to things here in the valley.
101.
Right.
Yeah.
Breaking the record.
But the
Yeah.
funny thing is, as I counted, there was 46 there, and there's 34 over in the corner here, and I didn't count how many are in the two in front of me. Plus, I have some other assorted ones around, like cat lovers Monopoly, of course.
Loki wants to play.
Who knew? Who knew?
Came out this last year. But I do have two 1935 sets.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, they were not cheap.
Those
And,
are worth some money. Yeah.
oh yeah, they cost me over $400 a piece over about what 10 years ago. No, more than 10 years
Wow.
ago. And I also have two British World War II sets and one US World War II set. Yeah, so I mean, I have, I mean, some of them are not worth a lot, but others, really are. And I have a whole slew of them from foreign countries. I have from UK, of course. I have, because I have cousins there, and they send them. Scotland, Japan, Israel, believe it or not, Russia.
Scared of that one.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
And that
You've got
reminds
it
me,
bad.
Lee, because you were talking about international. So the center does have a YouTube channel. I didn't know that, but I found that out. So it was recorded. And so I should be able to get a link to you fairly soon that will link it to the YouTube so you can share it with anybody who's asleep right now or wasn't able to. A lot of my friends tune in at 5:15. So I think, it's hard with the time difference.
Mina, if you can get a link to the video that's not in YouTube, like in Google Drive or OneDrive or something,
Okay.
then we can download it. You can't download movies easily from YouTube.
Okay. I should be able to send that in Google Drive because I have a Gmail.
Yeah, if you can share it with everyone, that'd be really appreciated.
What about WeTransfer? Isn't that a way to do something?
That you can send it to people that way too, sure.
See, am I impressing you, David, with all
I'm impressed.
You said Google Drive and I got my dry mouth. And,
Whatever works.
Hey, Mina, I thought your set was great.
Oh,
Very
thank
funny.
you.
I
Thank
thought
you.
it was really creative with having the lesbians be in charge. I love it.
And I really
That
do
was
think
fun.
that's true. I really do think that it would all have worked out much better. I'm doing I don't know if any of you know Margaret Gomez. She's one of my faves.
Yep.
Love her. Yeah.
She's so wonderful. And she's doing a show on Thursday with Brava Theater. And she's been doing Zoom shows from the beginning. She's done her solo show from her home. So she's kind of
Wow.
So I'm doing a 5-minute set with her on Thursday as part of Women's History Month. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we brought her to Corning some years back for an event.
And she's also what Elisa was saying about being that hybrid of storytelling and humor, right? She's really, she does her solo shows are wonderful too. She's one of my favorites. And she's very, very kind to comics. And that's hard to find sometimes when people get famous. But I loved all of your show, but I'm so glad the audience got this from it as well. How individual and authentic and unique each of your comic voices are, right? Because you didn't try to force any funny. You just were so wonderfully yourselves and vulnerable. And that's, as you can see from your audience, that's what really moves and connects people. The funny can always come later, or we can build on that later. We can work on more rule of threes and technique and all of that, but it's the authenticity, right, that really moves people. And you all did that beautifully. I just, I've hosted a lot of shows, and I didn't want it to end. I wanted to.
I was proud of my classmates. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. I was proud of you guys too. This was
You
fun.
supported you
Amazing job,
supported each other
everybody.
beautifully. And I so hope that someday that we can have this is great, but to have that beautiful thing of live performance and, hanging out after and all that good stuff. And it's coming.
Definitely.
Call that 1-800 number and get your
really.
That is a true story.
Get your shot. Yeah, get your
That's
shot.
a true story. I misdialed one number and I've never called a sex line before. I mean, I probably enjoy it, but I was like, what? And that's a true story.
What was that number? Oh, no.
You know what? I'll email it to you. But we are connected.
Yeah.
So, I know not everyone does social media and I'm not a big fan of it either necessarily, but, please, the 24-hour rule is forever. I'll let you know there's another class coming, whether it's going to be independent or through the center or both. And let's stay connected. And, Lynn, send us, if you can, the link to the Improbable. So if folks want to check it out.
Yeah, he had it up there, but all you have to do is go on the centerps.org, and then they have a whole thing on Red Dress Weekend.
It's on there.
Yeah. And for you folks in Connecticut, I sent you a couple of things that you could check out, contests, etc. But keep us informed of anything that you're doing, whether it's comedy or not. We want to stay connected.
Let us know what you're doing. So
one thing I also want to say is, and I think I'm seeing that she's still here, Catherine V. Forrest. I mean, I am so honored that she's
one of my best friends.
Really, I have so many of her books.
Yeah,
between her and Anne Rice,
Oh, wow.
And Anne Rice moved out to the desert.
Joe and Catherine are good buds of mine. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Compliment.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So wonderful. I wanted to
wonderful.
mention that. She's.
I'll tell her that you said that.
Yeah.
Well, she's here. I think she can hear that, right?
I don't know if they're still on. Probably not.
I see her name, but I'm not sure. She's her microphone.
And David, I hate to admit it, but I do own Coke and stock and Coke.
Oh.
And that's and as a comic, David, you'll develop like your walk-off line, right? And don't do Coke. I mean, it's 3 words. It's got timing, tempo. The lesbians and stay home is mine right now. But you've got your walk-off line. I'm David Sklarue. Don't do Coke.
I like that you incorporated the voices of your, the HR and stuff. I don't think you did that before. I like that.
Yeah. I added a new joke about the superheroes.
I had some new stuff, which was fun.
I like that one about the tooth fairy.
I love Superman having jet lag. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And I sang for you, Mina.
Yes, you did. You all took all the notes, and Robin sang, and Deanne. I got a lot of singing. And Noreen, you had so much confidence and ease. So much commitment to your story and your set.
Thank you.
Everybody was funny.
Yeah,
Robin, you were funny.
Oh,
you crazy old lesbian, you.
I know.
Who doesn't want to hear from a lesbian about back in the day when they were in a bar?
I want to see some videos, right?
I knew I wouldn't forget it. That's why I chose it.
Yeah, every time I see Robin now, I'm going to think about those stockings and those heels.
I know.
Really good work. Yeah, elegant.
Lisa, I'm glad you brought out the butter knife.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And I actually thought of you, Lee. I remember you said I should do that into the. I thought, I'm gonna the prop.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
Was it a bad idea? Scary that it happened, or scary looking at it?
Both. Scary looking at it. Because that takes a lot to put a hole in a knife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched Forged in Fire.
My story was based on my childhood.
Yeah.
And she says, I survived childhood.
Yeah.
With all your imaginary community. I love
that. They are the ones that saved me.
Yeah.
They still do.
As soon as you said arc flash, my mind went back to like 3 or 4 training sessions that they were mandatory for me to take. And it just like, oh God, because I know how bad it can be, and you were extremely lucky.
Yeah.
Extremely
God
lucky.
bless the flip-flops.
Yeah.
What saved you?
Well, the thing is though, Did any of
gotta
your
get
virtual
going.
friends stand between you and the?
They probably blocked it.
Yeah, if you go back, you could add that in there. That could be fun. A little
Yeah.
callback to your friends.
Yeah.
I love the way you talk to them. Like, you look fine.
Yeah, really. Is that my shirt? Yeah.
Nice to hear from your mom in the audience. That was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, that was
It
cool.
fun. I was a little worried, like, okay, don't go on and on, because she could be her own show.
But she's on mute. She's on mute. So there you go.
No, I know when she started to talk, but that was fun. I'm glad she chimed in.
It is great.
That was cute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Noreen, I have
Well,
a
I hope to see all you guys again. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Mm.
Luck on the improbable.
Okay.
Yes, good luck on your show. Listen, you
Okay.
all, I'm sending you a beverage of your choice. I'm sending you congratulations. Thank you for taking this risk with me. You know, I'm new to virtual teaching and I couldn't have asked for a better first group of students. I'm so
You
touched.
did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Stay in
fun.
touch, all right?
Everybody, great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Have a
fun.
wonderful rest of the weekend. Stay
Yeah.
well and stay in touch.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see each other
Bye,
again.
everybody.
Okay. Bye now. Bye now.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye-bye.